a little investigation. This is on a news video. Obviously these news videos about reform and all this. As you see here, this one here, right? It's talking about Restore Party and how it's splitting the vote for the reform, right? Because they're obviously claiming the reform is right wing, right? So I just commented there that reform is obviously Muslimic. And then they replied that, according to most media, reform is far right, racist, fascist, right? That's Restore, right? So what this essentially proves, right, is that this is a Masonic operation to get that Reforms Party into office, right? Obviously, as we know, all this media stuff is totally controlled, right? Just like it says in those protocols, right? And as you see here, it's MM Gaming, which is 33 restore, right? And then you go 2 and a 3 stop about. So this is what you call Masonic, right? And basically it proves that the Masonics is working hand in hand with the Muslimic, to bring about a Muslimic state, right? That's what they want. So it's all sort of orchestrated by them, really. And this Restore thing's come along, right? And it's capturing like the public vote, right? And again, it could be part of the psyop. It's too early to sort of see that yet, right? But it's come along. It's capturing more and more sort of obviously British public vote, right? And these are trying to redirect it back to that reform thing, which is obviously the biggest Muslim psyop good. Basically, what you're seeing, right, is new taxes being imposed, right, on alcohol and tobacco and all this, right? And they're doing a 83% cigarette tax, right, and 600. So if you see 3 8s, right, 8, 16, 24. So 2 and 4 is 6. Right? 6, you got your hex number all the time. And there's the one with 2 6s again, right? So this is Muslimic, there's no way they could do this without it being some form of Muslimic influence, right? There's obviously the Muslimics doing like tobacco and alcohol, right? And again, this is going to totally piss off a lot of the old-fashioned type of people, who basically still like sort of love the tobacco and the bottles of whiskey and all that type of idea, right? It's going to piss off an awful lot of people, right? The old British type of stock, right? So basically, this may be a psyop to push people over to a right-wing type idea, right? It may not be like, but either it's a clever psyop, right? A clever psyop to push people over to a right-wingish idea, right? Or it's a dumb sort of psyop to get people to vote for the reform. So obviously if people are taking more of a right-wingish idea, the thing what would come about would be the Restore Party as an option. I'm not suggesting that all right-wing on it, but it's like it's looking like that is the option for a more right-wingish type idea, right? Obviously the reform is set up as a fake right-wingish party and all that, where it's basically just Muslim, it's Islamic. So basically this one, it may be part of the psyop where, like I said, it's either been cleverly manipulated to get people to round to a right-wingish idea, right? Or it's been very stupidly manipulated to try and get people to vote for reform, which is Muslim. It's one of the two. Obviously at this stage you can't really tell. But this party comes along, right? And it's basically given the policy of the re-migration, right? Sending the immigrants back, right? Again, that's going to be very attractive to a lot of people, right? Very, very attractive point straight away, right? So it's difficult to tell at this stage, exactly what's going on, But this one's definitely the best option, for British peoples to to stop obviously Islamic takeover. And that's what's known about it. But again, it's too early to tell what's going on. Like I say, they could have totally used very clever manipulation to get people around to a right-wingish type idea. I'm not even saying that these are right-wing type of thing, but obviously when they're claiming, media, controlled media is claiming the reform one is right-wing and fascist. And of course, it's purely Muslim, isn't it? You vote for them, you get Muslim bloody law, it's against Sharia. So, it's just crazy. It's either a very clever psyop or a very stupid psyop, one of the two. But it's Masonic in its origins, obviously. And when you have press stories about them, reform, you've got again some backing up the idea of them being right wing and racist and all this, right? But you've got other stories about them where obviously they're sabotaging them in a way, where they're revealing that like where their candidates are Pakistani and Muslim and all that, right? Again, it's difficult to know exactly what's going on with it at this time. Then you see this story, which is about claims of Labour and Reform deal, right, where supposedly the Indian one, Sarwar, and one of the Reform ones supposedly had a deal together to get the SNP ones out the Scottish Parliament, right? And again, this is like a sabotagery type of story because it's sort of saying, well, the Reform ones, are sort of willing to sort of exist with Labour Party. It's like a total sabotage job on this reform. So as I say, it's either very cleverly manipulated to push the whites over, the native peoples is over to a right-wing idea, or it's complete mess, it's just complete sort of confused mess and intentionally a confused mess type of thing, So it's it can't really be worked out at this point, but it seems as if from what I can gather, when in real life and that, the people really are, they gone over to a more right-wingish type idea, And when these are talking about, obviously, the only thing that the reform ones are saying is they're going to deport illegal migrants and that, but obviously if they're illegal, they should be deported like immediately. From what I can gather, the average person wants a lot of the legal ones looked at, They want the whole concept of it looked at, like the legal ones. And that's what you see where that restore comes in, not for offering to do that, look at that. And that's sure. It looks as if the right-wingish approach is on its way back into Europe, like obviously it was in World War II and all that. So it's an interesting time politically, to see what happens in the next couple of years.